Today, I've got 10 essential tips to help you improve your English skills so you can speak with confidence. Ready? Let's go. Tip number 1. Start by reading out loud. For example, pick up an English newspaper or a book that you think you will enjoy and practice reading it aloud. As you read, practice the emphasis and intonation. This not only helps you to improve your pronunciation, but also helps you to understand the rhythm of the language. Tip number 2, don't fear making mistakes. Now, I feel like I say this all the time, but it's because it is so important. The only way that you will improve is if you push yourself out of your comfort zone. And when you push yourself, you will definitely make mistakes. But this is good. Learn from them, improve on them, and you'll just keep getting better. Tip number 3, practice speaking in front of a mirror. Practice ordering food at a restaurant. Practice introducing yourself at a meeting or at work. Practice meeting a new person. This self-reflection helps you to examine your facial expressions and encourages a more animated speech. Tip number 4. Now, this one might be a little bit difficult, but try and record yourself. Now, I know that might sound a little bit nerve-wracking, but I promise you, it will help you with your English. Maybe narrate a story or just describe your day. Listening back to this recording will help you to identify problems in your English and areas that you need to improve. By doing this, you will develop a level of self-analysis that means you will be able to see what you're doing wrong and you will be able to help yourself to fix it. Often when you're teaching yourself a new language, this is a key skill that you need to develop, being able to teach yourself. Tip number 5, listen and imitate native English speakers. Mimic native speakers. This can be through watching movies or TV shows, talking to native speakers, listening to podcasts or audiobooks, and take note of the phrases and idioms that they use and mimic how they talk and what they say. This will eventually help you to adopt those phrases into your vocabulary. And before you know it, you'll be speaking like a native English speaker. Tip number 6, think in English. Now, this sounds a lot easier than it is, but stop translating everything directly from your language into English in your head. All this does is slows you down. For example, when thinking in English, what am I doing today? I will wake up and eat breakfast. Then I will go to the gym. Try to think what you're doing in English rather than in your first language and translating it into English. Once you start doing this, it will become easier and easier, and before you know it, you'll be thinking in English all the time, and it will make it much easier to speak without trying to translate it in your head before you talk. Tip number 7, practice summarizing. After watching a movie or reading a book, try to summarize the key points in English. Explain the plot in a few sentences. This will help you to develop your skills of being able to convey ideas concisely. Tip number 8, focus on mastering one skill at a time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to learn everything all at once. You simply will not be able to do this. Okay, so what do I mean? Well, if you would like to improve your vocabulary, set that as your first goal. Set yourself habits of learning new words each day and try to improve these and use them in your daily conversation. Before you know it, you will have focused on improving your vocabulary and you'll have so many words that you can use. Then keep up this good habit, but add in another goal. Perhaps the goal would be speaking to native speakers. Set this as your next goal and focus on that. Before you know it, you will have mastered so many different areas in English and you'll be sounding like a native speaker. Tip number 9, use visual aids. Make flashcards. I know lots of my students use flashcards to be able to help them adopt and learn new phrases, new vocabulary, and new words. Even apps like Duolingo or other language learning apps can really help you as a visual learner to get that vocabulary. This will reinforce your learning and mean that you're able to apply it in your daily life. For example, to put it really simply, having a picture of a beach and the word beach will just help you to identify the meaning of the word and make it so much easier to learn this and use it. And tip number 10, probably the most important one, remember to believe in yourself. Remember the first conversation that you were able to hold in English. That is an incredible achievement. Remember that and keep working hard. Confidence is the key to fluency. So keep putting yourself out there. Be consistent with your practice and your English work. Find someone to learn with, and this will really help you to reach your potential with English. So these are my top 10 tips on building your confidence with English. And remember, the journey to sounding like a native speaker is filled with ups and downs. But consistency is the most important thing. If you found these tips helpful and useful, please subscribe to my channel, check out my other social media platforms on Instagram, TikTok, and maybe even subscribe to my free newsletter, which I send out every week with some fantastic information and recommendations from me. Okay guys, see you in the next video.